Hey everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. So let's talk about abortions. Yeah, no, I'm actually not kidding. I was watching the Jubilee debate this morning on, women that were, anti-abortion and men that were pro-rights. And I just, I've worked in gynecology here in Sweden, and we did a lot of abortions, and it is the law in Sweden that passed in 1974 that a woman can get an abortion for free up until week 18. And then the latest they're allowed to give birth is week 22, but that's with special permission. There's something wrong with the mother or the baby, something like that. Now, I don't know why everyone's talking about this whole baby scrambling thing. Is that really a thing they do in the US? Because here in Sweden, they give you a pill and it's supposed to, you know, make your uterus contract and get rid of the fetus. So, yeah, we actually, on that ward, when we had like late term abortions, we would help them birth the babies vaginally. There was no scrambling, there was no none of that. The only time they would go in and maybe suction is if maybe there was a bit of placenta left or something like that, which could have, in turn, killed the mother. So I don't get this whole, like, you literally just take a pill, and if the pill doesn't start, making you have contractions, then you take another pill vaginally. And then you give birth, and you're actually allowed to see the fetus, the baby. And trust me, there are a lot of babies that are well better off have not being born. And I think I say this with full confidence because I've actually seen it. I've seen babies with Edwards syndrome that have like 17% chance of survival, and that's at best. I think all these, pro-lifers aren't thinking about what it means to take care of a child, let alone a child with special needs. And I work on the NICU now, and I can say some of our hardest patients are actually full-term babies because they can actually poo, yes, poo inside, and that will get lodged in their lungs, and then they asphyxiate. And it's really hard. There's nothing we can do to go in there and like scrape out the poo. And if you know, that first poo is like meconium, is like tar. So you get that stuck in your lungs. So these babies are usually on the respirator. We have them on hypothermia treatments to try to hinder, further brain damage. And I've also worked in child hospice, so I know that a child with those kind of needs or a dying child, it takes so much work. I've seen so many families get torn apart, so many siblings get forgotten. Sometimes it really is for the best. And yeah, of course, you have these people that are like, success stories. And if I did it, you can do it. Well, guess what? You're not the same as everyone. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone is cut out to be a parent. And I think it's very mature if the person knows that and decides not to go through with it instead of figuring out later when it's too late and the child is the one that is then going through the shit because of it. So I really just, I get so angry when I see these women, like, oh, it's a baby. And it's like, you're not looking at the whole picture. And no, I don't think you should use abortion as a birth control. And I don't think it's cool to get an abortion or whatever they were saying. But I do think that every woman has the right to say, this is not for me, or if there are complications. And I've held them in my hands, because afterwards we have to weigh them, and there's a whole procedure. And then if the parents want to see the child, we wrap them up, we take pictures, for medical reasons, not because it's fun to take pictures of fetuses or dead babies, as you call them. it really is not as easy as a lot of people think. And here you have to do it like vaginally. It's like, I don't think any woman wants to go through that just for fun, because it is like going into labor. So, yeah, I don't know if it's just like a US versus other parts of the world thing, but I have firsthand experience with this in working with it. I think everyone should have the right. I think you have to take everything into account. And I just think I get so baffled that women can stand there and go, well, it's a baby and it's this, and they don't know any of the medical reasoning behind anything. And they're not going to be the ones sitting there paying all the bills either. And talking about, all these programs, WIC and all that kind of stuff, it's not so easy to get on either. So saying that it's a simple solution, just have the baby and figure it out, or have the baby and give it up for adoptions, those aren't easy options. Like it's so easy to give up a baby and to then know there's a child or a person out there for the rest of your life. I am adopted. I myself am adopted. And I, you can throw the whole, what if they would have aborted you? Well, then I wouldn't be me. Wouldn't bother me because I'd never have known. So I just think people should let people have their own rights. It's not as dramatic as they say it is, at least not here in Sweden. Here in Sweden, you birth out. It's like the same as if you had had a miscarriage. And then you birth out the child, and past week 18, you have to have a special reason for that. And past week 22, you can't. So there's nothing after that. And yeah, I've actually had one that survived, and it was one of the hardest things I had to do was sit there, and I just hummed and, made sure that the baby felt safe, or the fetus baby. And you try and hum, you try to keep them comfortable. It was the hardest thing to do, to just let the child die. There's nothing you can do about it. The NICU won't admit them because they're too young, and the mother and the father, whatever, didn't want the child. So, yeah. So it's not so easy on the people that are doing these jobs either. Or I've had some, yeah, I don't even know if you guys want me to go into it, but it's not so simple. I think everyone should have rights. There's no baby scrambling going on. I think that's just a propaganda bullshit to try and scare people or make people feel bad. I think you need to know what's best for you and what's best for your body, what's best for your lifestyle, what's best for that child, if that should turn out to be a child. All the rest need to shut the hell up, because, like, seriously, they're not the ones that are going to be sitting there taking care of the child. So, I mean, it's much better than a child being brought into the world that's not wanted, not loved, not treated right. I just think it's a no-brainer. I don't know. What do you guys think about it? Are you guys pro-abortion or anti-abortion? Good topic to have on Valentine's Day.